2026 FIFA World Cup is unlike anything football has ever seen. For most people, the World Cup is simple. 90 minutes, a ball, a crowd, a champion. 3 countries, 16 host cities, 48 national teams, millions of fans crossing borders, and billions of dollars moving through one of the largest sporting events on Earth. Behind the celebration lies a system most fans never notice. A system built on border security, global logistics, advanced technology, politics, and enormous financial interests. And sometimes, that hidden system becomes impossible to ignore. Before Iraqi captain Ayman Hussein could even begin his World Cup journey, reports indicate he spent nearly 7 hours being questioned at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. His experience revealed something few people ever think about, because behind every World Cup exists an enormous machine operating far beyond the football pitch, a machine that shapes who enters, who profits, and how the world's biggest sporting event truly works. This is the hidden side of World Cup 2026. You're watching Trust. The 2026 World Cup is the largest tournament FIFA has ever organized. 48 teams, 3 host nations, more matches than ever before. More fans than ever before. And with that growth comes a challenge few people think about: scale. Moving millions of people across international borders, protecting dozens of massive venues, managing transportation systems across thousands of miles. For 1 month, North America effectively becomes the center of the football universe, and that requires an enormous amount of coordination behind the scenes. Because before a single trophy is lifted, millions of people, thousands of workers, and dozens of government agencies must all operate in sync. And when even one part of that system breaks down, the consequences can be felt across the entire tournament. In previous years, 32 teams battled for glory, but in 2026, the stage expands to 48. This isn't just a minor increase. It's a radical restructuring. 104 matches spread across 39 days of intense competition. From the high altitudes of Mexico City to the coastal breeze of Vancouver, 16 host cities will become the battlegrounds. This expanded format means more games, more travel, and a new round of 32 that raises the stakes earlier than ever. Finalists will now have to play 8 matches to claim the crown. Every game is a test of endurance and logistics. This sheer volume of activity turns every host city into a logistics hub operating at peak capacity for over a month. Unlike the compact 2022 tournament in Qatar, North America presents a geographical endurance test. 4 time zones, thousands of miles. To manage this, FIFA is clustering teams into regional zones. But even with clustering, the travel demands are staggering. Some teams are projected to cover over 5,000 miles during the group stages alone. It is a logistical marathon. For fans, the challenge is equally daunting. Many U.S. stadiums lack the robust public rail access found in Europe or Asia. Planners are relying on a complex mix of shuttle buses, regional rail, and activated secondary airports to move millions. It's a multimodal puzzle where every piece must fit perfectly to avoid total gridlock across the entire continent. Protecting an event of this magnitude requires a security operation unlike any other. Hundreds of agencies are involved. In the U.S. alone, over 400 agencies, including the FBI, are weaving a massive federal security umbrella. The challenge isn't just the stadiums, which are treated as fortresses, but the soft targets, like hotels and fan festivals. Mexico has deployed 100,000 personnel, including military troops, to monitor its host cities and transit routes. Beyond the physical, there is an invisible front: cybersecurity. Experts are tracking thousands of fake ticketing domains. They are guarding critical infrastructure from stadium lighting to digital ticketing against sophisticated cyber attacks. Sustainability is the keyword for 2026. While previous hosts spent billions on new builds, North America is different. We are leveraging existing world-class stadiums. The investment here is in renovation and FIFA compliance upgrades. But the real innovation is in the command and control layer. For the first time, AI-driven platforms are being used. They process data from over 1 million sources in 150 languages to create unified situational awareness. An incident in Vancouver or a delay in Mexico City is instantly communicated to coordinators thousands of miles away. It's the first smart World Cup where data is as critical as the grass on the pitch. Innovation is the backbone. The economic stakes are as high as the sporting ones. Billions in revenue flow through FIFA and the host nations. Host cities are investing heavily to ensure a seamless experience, hoping for a legacy that lasts long after the final. As June 2026 approaches, the final pieces are moving into place. The base camps are prepped. The volunteers are ready. The world is waiting. It's more than just a tournament. It's a demonstration of what humanity can achieve. Through cooperation and planning on a continental scale, the world is coming to North America. The countdown begins. The logistics of the century are ready. The stage is set. Let the biggest World Cup in history begin. For players, officials, and journalists, reaching the World Cup should be straightforward. You are selected, you receive accreditation, you travel, you participate. But reality can be far more complicated. One of the most talked about cases involved Iraqi star striker and captain Ayman Hussein. Reports indicated that Hussein faced nearly 7 hours of intense questioning and phone inspections. After arriving at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport on June 5th, before eventually being allowed entry to join his squad. Another case involved Iraqi photographer Talal Salah, who reportedly faced over 10 hours of questioning at the border and was ultimately denied entry entirely. Then came perhaps the most surprising case of all. Somali referee Omar Abdulkadir Artan had been selected by FIFA as one of the elite 52 match officials for the tournament. Yet, visa and entry issues ultimately prevented him from participating as planned. The situation was so unprecedented that reports emerged revealing FIFA would pay Artan his full tournament salary anyway, shielding him from the financial fallout of a system he couldn't control. Beyond these individual cases, visa restrictions and travel complications have affected journalists, team staff, and ordinary spectators connected to several participating nations. The incidents immediately sparked debate. Should major sporting events operate under special global diplomatic arrangements? Or should every visitor, regardless of athletic status, be subject to the same strict immigration procedures? Whatever your answer may be, these stories reveal an uncomfortable reality. The World Cup may be global, borders are not. And when those two systems collide, football is no longer the only thing at stake. But border security isn't the only controversy surrounding this tournament. Because for many fans, the biggest obstacle isn't getting into the country, it's getting into the stadium. If entering the country is difficult, entering the stadium can be even harder. The World Cup has always been expensive, but many supporters believe the economics of modern tournaments have changed dramatically. In 2026, dynamic pricing systems automatically adjust ticket costs based on real-time internet demand. As interest increases, ticket costs rise rapidly, making attendance increasingly difficult for many traditional fans. Meanwhile, the decision to leave secondary resale markets uncapped has produced eye-watering ticket listings that have attracted widespread criticism online. For many lifelong supporters, the concern is simple. The World Cup was built on the backs of passionate, everyday fans. But increasingly, attendance appears to be determined strictly by purchasing power. Football remains the world's game, but seeing it in person is becoming a luxury many supporters simply cannot afford. Which raises a difficult question: who is the modern World Cup really serving? The lifelong fan or the highest bidder? Football has always claimed the power to unite people, and often it does. But the World Cup also brings together nations with deeply complicated histories, different governments, different alliances, and sometimes active geopolitical tensions. When those realities arrive at a global tournament, the stadium becomes more than a sporting venue. It becomes a highly scrutinized global stage. Media organizations carry highly specific national narratives, and security personnel monitor the stands. A single gesture on the pitch can become international news. The World Cup doesn't create these tensions, it simply concentrates them. 1974, the height of the Cold War. Two Germanys, East and West, met on the pitch for the first and only time in competitive history. The East German team was trailed by 1,500 hand-picked supporters, many of them undercover Stasi agents tasked with preventing any defections. The Socialist East pulled off a staggering upset, but the victory was a propaganda trap. For the regime, it was proof of superiority. For the players, it was a bubble of fear. 1978, Argentina, a nation held in the grip of a brutal military dictatorship. The dirty war was at its peak, and the World Cup was the ultimate distraction. Just blocks away from the cheering crowds at El Monumental, prisoners were being held and tortured in the ESMA Naval School. The cheers drowned out the screams. Argentina won, but for many, it was a hollow victory, a state-sponsored spectacle designed to wash away the blood of the disappeared. 12 years later, in Mexico City, the ghosts of the Falklands War arrived at the Azteca, Argentina versus England, just 4 years after the bloodshed. Diego Maradona would later admit, this wasn't just a game, it was a battle for the fallen conscripts. It was symbolic revenge for a military defeat. The hand of God wasn't seen as cheating by Argentines, it was picardia, shrewdness, a symbolic theft against an empire. In 90 minutes, football provided a vicarious justice that military force never could, a restorative moment for a traumatized nation. 1998, Lyon, France, the United States versus Iran, two nations that hadn't spoken formally for nearly 2 decades. Protocol was a minefield. Iran's supreme leader forbade the walk. A compromise was brokered. The Americans would walk toward the Iranians. Peace through white roses. Behind the scenes, the stadium was a fortress. Over 150 armed police officers, 7,000 tickets bought by protesters. The pitch was the only safe zone. Iran won their first ever World Cup match. U.S. defender Jeff Goose noted, "We did more in 90 minutes than the politicians did in 20 years, but the shadows never truly leave." 2018. Serbia versus Switzerland. The conflict of the Balkans reignited over the independence of Kosovo. Shaka and Shakiri, Kosovar Albanians playing for Switzerland. When they scored, they flashed the double-headed eagle, a gesture that shook the Balkans. FIFA's response was swift. Fines, warnings, a desperate attempt to keep the political out of the sporting, but the damage was done. 2022, Qatar. The World Cup moves to the desert and the geopolitical stakes reach a fever pitch, a project fueled by unimaginable wealth and human cost. Behind the glittering facades, a dark narrative of migrant labor and human rights abuses dominated the headlines. The stadium was built on the backs of the voiceless. In the stands and on the pitch, political expressions were systematically suppressed. One Love armbands were banned under threat of sanction. The sanitization was complete. Yet, the game remained a mirror. Iranian players stood in silence during their anthem, a powerful message of solidarity with protesters back home that no ban could erase. Today, World Cup security is more than just crowd control. It is a system designed to suppress dissent and sanitize the global narrative. Autocratic regimes and global corporations continue to use this stage to distract, to project power, and to wash their images clean. For 1 month, billions of people focus their attention on a handful of stadiums, and everything that happens inside those walls carries additional weight. The stadium isn't a refuge from politics. It is its most visible, its most pressurized, and its most dangerous stage. Behind the scenes, technology now plays a central role in tournaments of this scale. It is the silent heartbeat of the modern stadium, pulsing with data. This is a world where every entrance, every corridor, and every seat is part of a massive, integrated digital ecosystem that never sleeps. Thousands of smart cameras monitor venues from every angle. These aren't just recording devices, they are the eyes of an advanced AI system. Advanced crowd management software tracks density in real time. It predicts movement patterns and identifies potential hazards before they ever happen. To prevent dangerous congestion, the system can automatically reroute thousands of fans, ensuring a smooth and safe flow through the venue at all times. Beyond the stadium walls, transportation networks utilize massive data streams to coordinate the movement of millions of visitors across different cities. From high-speed rail to local transit, every journey is optimized by algorithms that balance load and minimize delays in real time. While drone monitoring systems guard the airspace above, they provide a strategic layer of security that was once impossible to achieve. Most supporters never notice these systems. They interact with the excitement of the game, unaware of the vast infrastructure supporting them. And that's exactly the point. When everything works perfectly, the technology remains completely invisible to the human eye. But together, they form one of the largest, most sophisticated technological and logistical operations in the history of modern sport. The modern World Cup is no longer just a football tournament. It is a massive technological, financial, and operational undertaking, one that most fans rarely notice. But without it, the beautiful game as we know it today would simply be impossible. It is the pinnacle of organization, where world-class sport meets world-class engineering. When the final whistle blows, most people will remember the goals, the saves, critical moments, the trophies, high stakes, the celebrations, unforgettable moments. And they should. That is what makes the World Cup special. But behind every single moment we watch on television, there is another story unfolding. A story of logistics, security, technology, politics, and money. The World Cup is still football. But behind every goal, every celebration, and every unforgettable moment, there is an invisible system making it all possible. And for most fans, that system remains completely invisible. This has been Trust, Investigative News. Thank you for watching Trust.